Hi, welcome everyone. We're just going to give people a few moments to arrive. And as always, please let us know where you're tuning in from. And I would love in a couple of words to hear how you're feeling this morning. And I just want to first say everyone is welcome, however you are feeling, whatever your feelings and emotions are, whether you are excited about the turnout of the election or devastated by it, you are welcome here. And so let's see who is here. We have Marilyn from Tennessee and feeling grateful and inspired. Christina from Germany, feeling happy. Let's see, Erin from Dublin, Ireland. Welcome, our European friends. Greetings from San Jose, feeling sweet relief. Rivka from Jerusalem, as always, feeling hopeful. Mary from Georgia. Gwen, Monica, always love to see you guys here. Let's see, Ellie from New York. Greetings from Portugal, Huntington Beach. Yes, welcome, 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 welcome. Oh, friends, how are you doing? This has been such a time. I mean, really and truly. And I have to say, I actually took myself on a weekend retreat to the beautiful and really incredible Big Bear Retreat Center that's connected to Inside LA here in Los Angeles. And I've been in the midst of a snowstorm, which I'm going to see if I can show you guys. This is what my view has been. And so it's been really quite amazing to be alone and on a self-retreat and going through this whole experience. It's been really powerful. And so I just really want to welcome each of you and all of your feelings, because while many are feeling relief and hope, there are some that are feeling devastated and confused and feel like this is not the path forward. And so while we may disagree, I just want you to know that everyone is welcome. And so together, I want to say one thing, that usually this is about 30 minutes, and I really try to be mindful and respectful of everyone's time. I feel like today I have more to say and we need more time to practice together than that 30 minutes will allow. So I just know I'm going to go longer than that. Please take care of yourself. If you need to leave at any point, please do so. This talk and meditation will both live on Facebook and on YouTube, and we'll repost the link. And so you can come visit it again at any point when you really feel like you have the time and space, if you don't right now. So I apologize that this will go longer than usual. But I just feel like I don't want the constraints that we chose ourselves, and so I can change them. That's the beauty of it. So I want to invite us together, before we begin my talk, before we really get into the nitty-gritty of this all, to let's all just take a deep exhale together. And so taking a big breath in and sigh it out. If you're anything like me, you have been holding so much intensity, weighted with bated breath, tension, nervousness, holding the not knowing. And I have been finding myself over these days and this past week, and especially after yesterday, that every moment I'm releasing just a little bit more, that I'm getting into the fascia of my body and inviting it to soften. And so let's take one more collective, beautiful, nourishing inhalation. And exhalation. Yes. Inviting the body to soften, to release, to let go. And for those of you that joined me last Sunday, I talked about the book Burnout and this idea of being able to complete the stress cycle. And the two most important pieces that the authors talk about is using our breath and really having slow, deep breaths, but also using our bodies. And so while this is not what we normally do, it just feels kind of necessary right now. I'm going to invite you, and luckily my screen is the only one on, so nobody needs to be embarrassed about this, and you can do this in any way that feels comfortable to you, even if it's just an invitation for later when you have time and space and you want to do it your own way. But let's all get in our bodies for a second. So I'm going to move my chair, and part of this is releasing all this energy. And you can do this through dance, through movement, through jumping jacks, through push-ups, through sit-ups, through walking fast, through running. The means in which you move your body doesn't really matter as long as you move your body. One of the easiest and most powerful ways is to shake it out. And we know this through the animal kingdom. And there's a lot of videos that you can see online. And in the somatic world, there's a lot of really beautiful work illustrating this. But when a trauma happens in the animal kingdom, animals will discharge. They will literally shake their bodies to release the energy. So let's do that. So take a moment, stand up. If you're feeling embarrassed or weird, again, don't worry. Nobody can see you. Only people can see me. So it's totally fine. And just shake. Shake it out. Shake your legs. Shake your hands, shake your arms, shake your head, shake your tush, and really just let yourself move and release all that tension, all those fears, those worries. Just let it release and do it a little bit more than you think you can, and then drop. Take another one of those big inhalations and fill the belly. And release the exhalation. Notice what's happening in the body. Do you feel tingling? A sense of letting go? A sense of release, of completing that stress cycle? And that might not be enough. And that's okay, it's just the beginning. But know that you have the power within you to take care of your own nervous system, to tend to your own precious heart, however you're feeling. Because even if you're feeling relief, you've been holding a lot. And if you're not feeling relief, you're still holding a lot. And so just allowing yourself this moment of arriving. If you're anything like me, even on retreat, I have been constantly checking the news, connecting with loved ones. And so this is an opportunity, an invitation to connect with ourselves. And so while this is a huge shift in our country, huge, we still have a long way to go. And a lot of deep work needs to be done, both to acknowledge our own painful and dark, violent past as a nation, make authentic repair, and work towards true reconciliation and healing, not only for the atrocities that our ancestors or ancestors of this nation, if that doesn't apply to you, have done, but also for the ways in which we have treated each other. I have truly been astounded by people on both sides and the ways that they have ostracized one another, been mean, judgmental, othered one another, forgetting that we are brothers and sisters, that while different, we are of the same nation and share so many similarities. And we have lost that. We have lost our way in these last 4 years. And while policies may differ and your politics may differ, I think we all can agree in the importance of basic human kindness, of connection, of listening to one another, of respecting one another, of showing up, and of loving one another. And we have lost our way. And I mean all of us. I have got caught up in the fury myself, in the judgment and the confusion, in the holier than thou, even at moments. And so I too hold myself responsible, knowing that we now have a new chance, a new way. And while the path ahead is not clear, and we have so much work to do, there is a new beginning. And so as a psychologist, and really just as a seeker and a meaning maker for most of my life, it's been my nature. I've been really trying to make sense of how we got here as a nation, and perhaps what is the path forward. And while I am no expert on the history of the United States by any means, I do know a lot about our psychology and how we work and how trauma impacts us, both professionally with the hundreds of patients I've worked with, and also personally in my own, dealing with my own trauma and my own wounds and my own healing. And so this is what I have come to understand. And while this is not perfect and a work in progress, I offer it as something that is hopefully helpful for you to hold as well. So as individuals, our early childhood trauma gets imprinted on us, and it becomes woven into the fabric of our being. So much so that we often aren't even aware of its impact, and it often just goes unexamined. It just becomes who and how we are. Like, take, for example, if you're a fish and you've always swam in shark-infested waters, do you know that you're swimming in water? Do you know that you could find a safer area nearby? Not likely. This is what you know. And when you've grown up, in whatever way you've grown up, it's also what you know. It's what I've known. And there's also risk in making yourself vulnerable and trying to see something different. You know, it's the old adage of the hell we know, or the danger we know, versus the hell we don't know, or the danger we don't know. There is comfort in what we know. I mean, and there has been so many studies in why people stay in abusive relationships, why people stay in their addiction much longer than, you know, would seem likely that they should, given all the circumstances. And it's what we know. And so we stay, because there's also so much fear. And as humans, we're not so different than these fish. This is what we know. And it's incredibly scary and vulnerable to try to seek out something else. And unless we've had a life experience that has begun to reveal these wounds to us and their impacts, we're often unknowingly controlled by our adaptive early childhood responses to the trauma. When we're young, we create the best ways that we know how to deal with our life experiences. And when we're young, it's incredibly helpful. But what happens is we often stay stuck, and we don't update those ways of relating to our experiences. We don't update our communication patterns. We stay stuck. And even when our wounds and our traumas and our life experiences have been shown to us, and the patterning has been shown to us, even then, it often takes many times, many times, before we finally say, okay, enough. I want to do this differently. I don't want to do it like this anymore. Because it takes so much courage. And if I'm being totally honest, it's often terrifying to look at our own pain, our own wounds, And it can leave us filled with confusion and shame and guilt and unworthiness. But I can tell you this with relative certainty, with all my personal and professional experience and my own dedication on my own path of healing around my own childhood trauma. The only path, the only real path towards transformative healing is through opening our hearts with courage to face our own wounds so that we can know them, heal them, and not be bound by them. They have forever left their mark, but they do not have to define us. That is our choice, and that is our right. And that is one of the things that separates us from the rest of the animal kingdom, is the ability to consciously heal in a new way. And as a nation, we're not so different. Our collective past is painful. Even if you don't have ancestors who ravaged the Native Americans or who owned and abused slaves, and it's particularly painful if you do. But all the same feelings arise when we're tasked with facing these traumas and atrocities that happened in our own country. Fear, confusion, shame, and guilt. It's hard and it's painful. And yet I know deeply it is the only way through. And we must remember something that is so deeply true for all of us, and I mean all of us, that hurt people hurt people. When we are hurting, we hurt others. And that's true for all of us. This doesn't excuse anyone's behavior, but it can help us to understand and to find a place of compassion if possible. And it's not always possible, and that's okay too. Because this radical act of acceptance is truly meeting ourselves where we're at. And this also doesn't mean we shut down our own rage and fear and our own hurt and pain. In fact, quite the contrary. We give ourselves ample space to feel it, to move through it, and to take good care of our own tender hearts so that when you feel ready, when you feel able, strong, courageous, that you can show up in the world grounded, with true intention, character, and integrity, and with a clear vision forward. When we harden our hearts to others or show up with reckless, unexamined emotions, we become the hurt people hurting people. But the beautiful thing is, we have the power to choose how we show up. And that is my invitation to all of us, that we let this be the dawning of a new day. Again, regardless of how you feel about the turnout of the election, that we can start to heal these wounds, to reach across the aisle, to listen to one another again. It's as if our parents have been viciously fighting, and as their children, we just started copying them. And this viciousness lives within us too. We can't blame them. If it didn't exist in us, it wouldn't have come forward. But now that we can see how the ways that we have treated each other for these last 4 years, and certainly since the dawning of this nation, it doesn't work. And that what unites us is our deep, authentic desire to be seen, to be known, to be heard, to be understood, and to be loved. And as Rumi so beautifully says, through love, all pain will turn to medicine. And so let's take another collective exhale together. And I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the historic and momentous moment of what it means for not just little girls, but all children in our entire country to see a strong, intelligent woman of color born to immigrant parents to be the Vice President-elect of the United States of America. In deep gratitude for this day that has been long overdue and is just the first of many. Oh, okay, dear ones. So let us now turn to our practice. Ground ourselves in our practice. And so if it feels right, I invite you to close your eyes. And if not, just find a place to have them gaze softly. And take a few long, slow, deep breaths. Breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the nose. Seeing if with each breath you can deepen the inhalation and elongate the exhalation. Inviting the body to soften and receive this breath of life. And now letting the breath find its natural rhythm and its infinite wisdom, how it so beautifully knows just what to do. Imagining now from the top of your head a sense of warmth, slowly dripping down and softening all the muscles, the weary, tight, tense muscles that have been in overdrive. Allowing each exhale in this warm blanket to soften and soothe all the muscles in the face, letting the jaw be open and relaxed. Letting the muscles in the neck and the shoulders soften and drop. Letting any constriction in the chest and the upper back begin to melt away. Inviting the belly and lower back to uncoil. And the arms and legs to release any holding and just let them rest and be. So much of our attention and energy has been focused outward this week. And so as we move through the layers, keep inviting your attention inward. This is an in-body experience. Give yourself the gift of your own luminous presence. There is no one more deserving. And if it feels comfortable, placing a hand on your heart or anywhere on your body that feels loving and nurturing. Just taking this moment to check in, to see and be curious about how you're doing. What is the nature of your heart in this moment? And can you wrap your own love and presence and compassion around your own tender heart? And if it's helpful, even giving yourself a literal hug. It's been intense, and we all need kindness and compassion. And so who better to give that to than our own selves? And now I invite you to call to mind, and this may be very challenging to do. So be gentle with yourself, meet yourself where you're at, and only do what you can do in this moment. But call to mind the others that in this time you have disagreed with, been confused by, angry at, and know that they too, just like me, want and deserve to be seen. And if this feels too difficult or too painful or you're not ready, that's okay too. Just stay with yourself. That is the most important person in this moment. You can hold this as an aspiration. And knowing that just like me, they too wish to be understood, and respected and loved. And checking back in with yourself, noticing if there's any constriction or tension that has arisen. And use the wisdom of your body and your breath to soften it again. We do this to protect our tender hearts. And so connecting to the deep knowing that in this moment you are safe. Breathing in And breathing out. Sensing into a place of profound, deep knowing that the wells of love that exist in all of us know no bounds. That our ability to forgive is infinite. So tapping into your own wise inner knowing, allowing that luminous being to embody every cell of this precious body and heart and mind and soul. Inviting the greatest good to come through you, to come through each of us. And holding on the lips of our heart Rumi's beautiful transformative words. Through love, all pain will turn to medicine. So taking one of those big, luscious breaths again. Exhaling in whatever way feels most restorative to you. And take a moment to sense into a place of gratitude. First and foremost to yourself for showing up today, for weathering this last week, for everyone that has come before us, for everyone who has showed up, and for everyone who is to come after us. Deep bows of gratitude. And so if your eyes were closed, I invite you to gently let the light seep back in. And I would love to hear in the chat just a few words on how you're feeling, what you noticed, what came up for you during this meditation and talk. And I invite you to revisit it, to find your North Star as we traverse into the coming days and weeks and years ahead. What will guide you? What will be your own inner wisdom for the greatest good. Thank you. You're so welcome, Mike. Thank you. Adelaide, you are also so welcome, and God bless you. I love Mary having roomies saying to be your weekly mantra. Yes, may it be for all of us. And Nan, yes, thank you for acknowledging me taking the time out. I felt really called to do it. So I actually am so happy to be here with all of you. Namaste. And Claudia, you are so welcome. Surrender from Mark. Yes, surrender, surrender, surrender. There is so much we are truly not in control of. And so to surrender. Thank you all. I wish you a truly, truly blessed day.